back to the Small Town Collectibles YouTube channel. My guest tonight is probably one of my favorite channels, and if I had to describe it in one word, it's fun. It's a fun channel to watch. The host is just a very charismatic guy. He is sitting over here beside me, so I can talk about him in a good way right now. But I really do enjoy his channel. He does a ton of giveaways. Just a lot of fun. Like I said, a lot of fun to watch. So everybody join me in welcoming to 10 Questions, Chris from Wild Comics.
Awesome, man. I'm excited to be here, and thank you for the kind words. That means a lot. I watch this every time you put it up. It's a killer segment, and I enjoy watching it. I'm privileged to be a part of it. So thank you.
Cool, man. I appreciate you jumping on with me, man, and we'll get into it. I know you've had a long day yourself, been traveling, so we'll get into this thing. First question I ask everybody, Chris, is like, what or who got you into the hobby? Got you into collecting?
Okay, so it's kind of a long story. So my dad was military, so we moved around a lot, and it was one of the things to when my dad retired, he wanted to retire close to family, and it happened to be in California. So they bought a house that was being built. So in the meantime, we had to live in an apartment complex. Never lived in one before. It was always base housing. So it was, my mom had to use the community laundry room mat. Like that's where we went to do our clothes. But the problem was every time she did her laundry, I don't know if it was an individual, if it was multiple people, but they would come and they would steal her undergarments. So my mom got kind of So my mom kind of got tired of going and having her, her underwear and her bras stolen. So she said, "Forget it. We're going to the laundromat. We can't trust this no more. We're going to the laundromat." So she found one local, and just by chance, inside the laundromat, there was an arcade, NBA Jam. Outside of the laundromat, there was a liquor store, there was a Pizza Hut, and at the very end was a comic shop. So my mom, being my mom, she didn't want to leave the laundromat while she was doing her laundry. So Saturdays was an all-day thing doing the laundry. So what did we do? We ventured into the liquor store. We got our soda pops. We would go into the comic book store, and we would hang out there, grab some comics, start reading, and then we would go to the pizza joint, have a pizza, and eat pizza and read comic books. It just became a daily weekend thing with my mom, just because of an unfortunate circumstance, right? And time kind of went on. I have two brothers. My older brother, I actually talk about him a lot. He participates in a lot of my things. He actually helps contribute to my channel with some of his books that I press and clean and send out to CGC. So he's been a really big part as far as really staying involved, being a part of the hobby. And then I got married, and then I got divorced. And then during that time, I just kind of fell out of interest. And then a few years back, he was like, "Hey man, I got some Comic-Con tickets. You want to go?" And I'm like, "Yeah, let's go." So then 2 years ago, I started collecting again, and just fell right back into it. So I know it's a long answer, but yeah.
Well, no, that's great. And that's one of my favorite questions to ask, because I think all of us fell out of it at some point, right? At some point in our younger life, we were into it, and then whatever, life happens, you get a little older, and you kind of fall out. And I find it interesting, all the different reasons, man, because if you've watched the show, everybody has given me a different answer to that question, like why you got back into it. And I just happened to be with my kids, and they were shopping, and I hate to shop, and I just ventured into a comic book store. And I was like, "Oh yes," and I fell right back into it. And, I'm so glad I did, because it started this, and, get to meet all these cool people in the hobby. Right. So
it's killer. Yeah, absolutely. And it kind of opens up a door. It kind of brings you back to childhood, right? Like it's that gateway. For me, I grew up with a really bad reading comprehension disorder, right? I could read a whole story, and then the teacher would be like, "Yo, what did we just read?" And I'd be like, I have no idea. But when I got introduced to comic books, it was a way to introduce multiple things, and it was almost like a create your own story with a bunch of crossover series, to where it allowed the imagination to take over the reading comprehension disorder. So, that going a little bit deeper there, but that's the same thing, right?
Cool. Yeah, absolutely. So, all right, question 2, and it kind of ties into what you were saying is, how does because I know how my family feels about it, but like, how does your family, your significant other, how do they, I guess, look at what you're doing with the YouTube channel and the hobby itself?
Right. So my brother, of course, is a huge supporter of mine. We'll be on the phone. and I have a better relationship with my brothers, especially my older brother, right? Who's part of the hobby, and we talk all the time. I can talk to them for hours, more so than my parents, right? So they're super supportive. My friends and families are super supportive. My significant other, she's amazing. I mean, I'll be honest with you, she hates it. You know, I mean, if I'm being 100% honest, she absolutely hates it because she knows, and like the amount of time of editing, the commitment, the constant, different kinds of content that you can do. I mean, and being a business owner, and as much as like like it's a lot of work, and so unfortunately from there it takes a lot away from our time together when we still find time to make time, but she hates it. Like she. I know but on the other hand, she's like super supportive. Like she gets it. She knows that in a relationship, you have to have that balance, right? But she's bought me things for the channel. She's bought me the picture. She's been very supportive. But when it comes down to the act, she's either you're all about comics and Marvels and DC and indie, or you're just not. And so like that Lord of the Rings style, that comic book superhero, some people enjoy it, some people don't. She does, I don't. Or she doesn't, and I do, and then it just works out. It's just that balance that I think every relationship has, and we can both understand that. Hey, she does things that I don't really like, but hey, that's you. That's something you enjoy to do, and this is what I do, and she doesn't like, and we learn to accept that, and we can work with each other on it. So
cool. Yeah, no, I mean, I kind of got the same thing going on. My wife could care less about this, right? But she's supportive about what I do. My kids think it's they're starting to come around a little bit as my channel has grown. Like they can't believe it that I've gotten to where I've gotten from a subscriber standpoint, talking about comic books, right? And so they, I try to explain it to them, as it's one of those things where I don't know, it's like I had something missing and I didn't know it. And this has filled something for me. And, not that my family doesn't, it's just that this is for me. And I think, they've got their things that they do. And yeah, so I think that's cool, man. So let's just get to it. Question 3. Yeah. Like why did you start a YouTube channel? Like what got into you and you were like, man, I'm going to do a YouTube channel?
Oh man, that answer, that question could have so many answers to it. Man, so, and I think like the most generic answer, and it's not to like put anybody down, but I think a lot of people see channels and they think, hey, I can do that, or, if someone else is doing it, I can do it, that's not necessarily why I did it, but I will be honest, there were some times I'll see certain channels, see certain videos, and it's just like, I think, and being an entrepreneur, like, dude, like that's just in me to where it's like, I know I can do this. I know I can do it better. But most importantly, like I'm pretty crazy, man. Like I love giving away stuff, right? Like, and if you watch my channel, dude, if anyone watches my channel, it's all about the give back, right? So for me, like just to go like really deep into some things, like when I went through my divorce, it was a really bad divorce. It was something to where I never expected it. People around me didn't expect it. And it was something to where like I contemplated suicide, right? Like it was a really serious moment in my life that affects me to this day, but it affects me in a way to where like my brother, even though I talk highly about him, like he saved my life. Like he had no idea to call me, but someone told him to call me. And at that moment, when he called me, it was at that moment I was in that point, So my brother's my superhero. Like he'll always be my hero. So at that moment, as things started changing, I started building the business, I started growing. It got to a point now to where it's about the give back, man. Like I love. And people need that, right? Like people need to be able, especially in a situation that we're in right now with COVID, people losing. I mean, there's people losing businesses. There's people losing careers. Like, who knows? To me, it's a $25 comic up to a $200 comic that I give away on my channel. Like, that's just $200, man. To me, right? But to somebody else, who knows? They could be in that spot to where I was in, and that was a changing moment to them. So for me, like the reason why I started this channel was because not only do I love what being a superhero is, because you can enter a whole nother dimension of like alternate universe, right? Like the 616 or whatever, right? But like it just, I love making people feel good, and I think right now where we're at in the country, I don't really care what side of the fence you're on, what you believe, what you don't believe, politics or whatnot, man. Like people just need to be happy, and people need the happiness, and that's why I started. Was like, dude, let's just let's get crazy, let's just have fun, and let's just give away stuff, man. So I know it's kind of a crazy answer, or I don't know, but like that's just that's why I started my channel.
I think that's awesome, man. You saw something in the world, you thought, I could do this YouTube channel, I could give some stuff away and have some fun at the same time, enjoying the hobby and kind of getting out there. I dig it, man. I said, I think that's great. Because I can't even remember how I found your channel. Like, I don't even remember how I happened upon it, but somehow I did. And I was like, this guy's just giving books away. He's got books lined up on this desk and he's spinning a wheel and, then you can go over here. It was just crazy, and it was a lot of fun, man. And you've, developed a big following pretty quick. I mean, I kind of feel like we came on the scene at the same time or around the same time. And you've hit it well, man. So, and
Thank you.
Kudos, man. I said it's absolutely fun. And like I said, a blast to watch your channel. So, how did you come up with the name? So that's question 4. Like, where did Wild Comics come from? Is that, I'm just a wild and crazy guy, or is there some kind of meaning behind it?
Okay. So it was actually one of those midnight, 1 o'clock kind of things. Right. So, I shouldn't be saying this, but I'm going to say it anyway. So my last name is Fox. Okay. So originally when I thought of the idea, I was like, how can I incorporate Fox into comics, and how can I make it like animal comics? Is it like, like Fox comics? Is it something to where Comics Fox or the Fox Hunter or Fox and the Hound? Like, it was all these crazy things, and it just came like, dude, like, wow, let's just like, wow, like when we're looking for comics, like we're out in the wild, right? That's the terminology. So the Fox could be part of the wild, and the comics is just you got to get that algorithm too in it, right? So like a lot of it is being able to have a sales pitch, anything with comics, whether it be on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube. I mean, bam, it's an algorithm and you're in, right? So to me, it's like, okay, well, let's just call it Wild Comics. So that's kind of like how that kind of came about. And we just kind of played with the idea, because originally we thought about having like an animal part of the entrance and all this other stuff. And it was just one of those things to where, and you probably know too, right? Because like, you come up with so many ideas, and by the time you're done with it, you're like, we're nowhere near where we started. Right? So we're like completely opposite side of the spectrum, but as you just gotta play with it, and just kind of falls in place. Almost, I mean, like SmallTown Collectibles. Like how did you come across SmallTown Collectibles?
Well, small town, I live in a town literally that has 600 people. I am as small town as small town gets. Yeah, I'm as small town as it gets, man. And I've always resonated with the small town life, and I'm very prideful in being a small town guy. And so to me, it was just kind of the only name, right? Because even in college, my buddies would call me small town. They were like, "What's up, small town?" And so for me, it was just kind of the name. Yeah. And it's funny how they come to you. Just one night I was sitting there and I was like, well, I'm going to do this YouTube channel. What am I going to call it? And then I was like, well, small town, that works for me.
Yeah. So, and it's crazy too, because like, as we were talking previously, I'm in California, I was just out in Tennessee, and seeing those small towns, they are, they're small towns, but there's this ethic, there's this chivalry that still is inside of those small towns. You know what I mean? So that's that to me, I like that. I think that's solid. You know what I mean? I love that small town collectibles. That's cool. I dig that. Man.
All right. So question 5. And for someone who's never watched your channel, I don't want to explain it. Explain to the folks watching what they can expect when they hop on Wild Comics.
So, and that's always hard too, because you kind of got to promote yourself a little bit, right? Mm-hmm. So, sure. And that's kind of like my kryptonite, man. It's hard for me to kind of describe myself, because I just kind of like do it, But if someone were to watch my channel, man, I'd probably say something like, I kind of like Big Brother, expect the unexpected, right? Like, you never know. There may be a time that I may throw up a crazy book, just to give away, or there may be a time to every Thursday I do a giveaway. And it was like one of those things to where it's like, so if you were to watch my channel, if I was talking to someone, I'll just say, hey, man, just come, sit back, relax, and have a good time. Just enjoy it. We're here to have fun. We're here to give away free stuff. And most importantly, and like probably, too, knowledge. Like, there's a lot of people out there that can't afford some of these mystery boxes, and some of these mystery boxes, I mean, the GPs on them are ridiculous. I mean, you probably saw the eye candy one, right? Like, eye candy. Oh my gosh, man. Like, that was, my brother and I went halvesies on it. That's how we were able to do it, So, but like I think part of it too is being able to tell people, because we're not here to be critics, we're not here to put down. I know that Spider-Man booth has gotten a really bad rap lately, and that's really unfortunate. I don't have anything against that Spider-Man booth. I think JP is phenomenal. I know you interviewed him, and I watched that actually twice, because I watching the way he presents himself and the way that you ask the questions on that interview was just, I mean, I watched it twice, and that's a 45-minute watch. You know what I mean? So I mean, I was really blown away because he's a genuine dude, and he's very story is phenomenal. But you know, when it comes down to it, there's a lot of people out there that can't even afford the $250 mystery boxes, right? So part of the reasons why we have a YouTube channel is to be able to kind of show, hey, like if someone who can't afford that and they want to invest some money in it, that's part of the reason why we have our channel. So if you were to watch my channel, know that, hey, we're gonna give away some crazy stuff. We're gonna have a kick-ass time doing it, because it's always fun to get free things, and be ready to be knowledgeable. You know, there's some companies out there that have some great reputation, and there's some companies that have, you know, some really bad reputations, and that's just based off of our personal opinions. That doesn't mean you should not go to them or not like them. It's just this is what they have in them, you know. So
Right.
and everyone collects differently, right? So you know, like this is, if you're looking like that Spider-Man booth gears towards a lot towards their variants in the variant game. I'm not a variant person. I love, you know, the silver, bronze. Periodically I like the variants, but that's not. I'm going for the GPs. He flashes some incredible books, man.
Yeah, he
I
does.
mean, stupid books, man. So I mean, if I don't hit the GP, then that box to me it renders useless to me, right? But that doesn't mean it's not for somebody else. So
Sure.
that's mainly why, you know, I would tell people to look for in my channel, was just to have fun, let's get some things away, and just be ready to be knowledgeable, you know.
Cool. Great answer, man. All right. So, question 6: what's been your favorite part since you started the YouTube channel? Like, what's been your favorite part about the whole experience?
So the really cool thing that I will say, and maybe you've experienced it too, is the people that have reached out to me, right? And the people that I have reached out to. So when I originally started, the channel, I don't know, man, maybe I was like 100 subs in, right? Um, I thought, okay, being a business owner, I'm a kind of person, I do recon, right? So I want to reach out, like, how did you get to where you're at, so I can get myself to where you're at, right? So one of the persons I reached out to was Very Gary. You know, I mean, he was one of the first people I really landed on. Then I landed on Comic Tom, then I landed on Gem Mint. And so when I reached out to Very Gary, I said, hey man, check it out. I want to start a YouTube channel. I see what you're doing. You know, I like where you're going with it. I enjoy watching your content. Can you spread any advice? You know, and by far he has given me the best advice, and that is, dude, stick to a schedule. Like, there's a day you should record, there's a day you should edit, and there's a day you should post. There are people out there that flood, you know, every day with videos, and that's great. Like, people, if that's how you want to do it, that's how do it, right? But like, the fact that you can actually make content and be on a schedule really helps. So like, and I try to do the same thing. I've already had 2 people myself reach out to me, and I actually had, I mean, Symbiote Comics, he's like a 12-year-old kid, I think. You know, he actually won one of the books on my channel. He reached out to me and was like, hey man, I really enjoy what you're doing, and I'm starting a channel, can you give me advice? I'm like, I'm going to pass the same advice that I got from someone that has 10,000 plus subscribers down to you, who only at the time had 20 subscribers. Just be that routine, you know. So it's just constantly trying to give back, you know, and having people reach out and say, hey man, I really enjoy your content. Like, that's always a good feeling. You probably have experienced that too, I believe, right?
Yeah,
And it's
sure,
just,
man.
yeah, right. Like, and that's, it's just a give back. It's a feeling of the community. And I mean, of course you're gonna have the haters, you're gonna have the people that leave the nasty call. I mean, I had one guy go off on me, and I'm just kind of like, oh well, I mean, it just comes with the territory, you know, and it's
Yep.
just, it is what it is, you know.
So, have you found it surprising? Because I have, and I'm just interested because you said you reached out to Very Gary, you know, and I've interviewed a lot of big channels, right? Interviewed Very
Yeah,
Gary, I interviewed Jim Mint,
yeah,
Bueller, Rock and Robbie. I've interviewed a lot of these guys, and it has struck me that these guys they're so friendly, man. And, and I guess they're just dudes like you and I, right? Who started a YouTube channel. They just had some success. And like Very Gary was so cool to me. And so was Jim Mint. Like I was a little bit like starstruck, if I'm being honest, like a little bit starstruck. But they gave me some really good advice off camera. Very Gary told me the same thing about the schedule. And, and I try to do that. Like, you're going to get on a certain day of the week, you're going to get a certain kind of content from me at the same time every week. And, like tonight, tomorrow I'll drop the new comic book day, first appearances and key issues. And before you and I jumped on, I was actually editing that video, like trying to get all that done. You're right, man. It's a lot of work, but have you found it funny how cool these cats are, when you reach out to them, that they're just cool dudes?
So no, they're really cool. And there's been a couple of times where I've tagged, and that's just it too, because you got to mark it, right? And
right.
Unfortunately, Instagram, if you tag someone, it doesn't show on their page. So there's not like that mass spread like Facebook would have, so to speak, right? But there's been times where I've tagged Comic Tom and he's responded, and it's just like, oh wow, man, like you're kind of like, oh man, you're taken back by it, right? Because you're thinking like, oh man, like this dude took time out of his day to respond, and same thing with Very Gary, like, and I get it, they probably get it every day, you know. So when you get those responses, they may not be this, and it's funny because I talked to my older brother about it again, right? I said, it's almost like you're dating for the first time again. Right. And you send this text message, right? You send this text message out and you're like, hey man, like I really enjoyed it. And it's this long paragraph, right? And it's just like your life story. And they write back like 2 sentences and you're just like that's it. Like, but it's like those 2 sentences like are huge, man. Like it's crazy.
I know. Like the first time I ever messaged Very Gary, his response was "yeah." He was basically saying yes, but it was YA, it was y'all. And I was like, okay, how am I supposed to take that? You're right. It's like dating for the first time. That's hilarious. I love that, man. That's so cool. So question 7 is like, what's your least favorite part? Like, has there been a least favorite part for you?
Yeah. I mean, this is going to kind of sound a little like, I don't know, cliche, maybe. I wish I could give away more. I know that's kind of like a oh okay, like that's a Hollywood answer, right? Like, but like
sure, Chris, yeah. I wish I could give some bigger books away.
Here's a GSX, here's a 181, right? But like that's my end game, right? Like my end game is to be like, dude, like Thursdays, dude, like we have 181s, we have GSXs, we have 129s, we have all this stuff thrown up that's been given away, right? Like that's, to me, that's my end game, right? It's a really long end game, but that's my goal. And that's, I mean, of course, people will say the haters, the hate comments. And that's pretty hard too. Here's my thing about the hate comments, right? Because I know I've seen some of the interviews. I know a lot of people have talked about them. And I've had some pretty brutal hate comments. I mean, I had one guy say that I should put on some clown makeup and put a clown costume on my future next videos, right?
I had a guy call me a clown today.
Yeah. And you're like, dude, as someone who has a channel, you don't want to be that argumentative rebellion kind, right? You don't want to be, you don't want to come off like that, right? You want to come off like, hey man, smash that like button and thanks for the watch, right? But there comes a point, and I on any channel, any page, to where someone can discredit you for the way you do things. Like I have a video out there that has it's saying 3,000 views, how to clean and press a comic book, and I knew from the get-go I was gonna get some serious hate comments on it, and I have. Okay, if you want a good read, go read those comments, man, because they're on there. But like I knew that from the get-go, and so it continues to go. And there's more than my way. My way is not the right way. It's just my way and how I do it and how I became how was grown to benefit me. If you watch some of my earlier pre-screens, my 25 pre-screens, man, I'm pulling out like 8.0s, 8.5s. Now it's like 9.0s or better because I know what I'm looking for. I know how to clean. I know how to press. Dude, you have to mess up to learn. That's just life, sure. Right? But like these people, they want to come on and they want to hate comment, and that's fine. Like you have your ways. You don't have any videos on your page showing how to do it, but you want to tell me how to do it. Okay, that's cool. But where I draw the line, and I think anyone draws the line, is when you start insulting people, when you start calling
Mm-hmm.
people clowns, when you start calling people stupid, and you start bashing. Like, dude, that's a no-no in my book, right? You got a no-no going, and I ain't liking it. And I think everyone at that point has every right to defend himself. And so I wouldn't say go to that level and call them names, right? Right? Because now you're just that banter tit for tat. But that's the only negativity really that I've really encountered. You know, people just with the hate comments. But like Gem Mint said in your other videos, like that's how you know you made it. Because Alfred from Batman, you know, had told Bruce Wayne, he said, man, the Joker just wants to watch the world burn. Like there's people out there that just want that they just want to watch the world burn. And they just want to be mad. And that's why, you know, anytime you're doing a YouTube channel, and I told Symbiote Comics, like, be yourself, be happy, and just it's harder for people to be mad at someone that's happy and having a good time than someone that's like down in the dumps and being negative, right? Like it's just be happy with all of it, you know? So you just, you know, it affects your positivity. It knocks you back for a few hours. You're like, oh man, that kind of hurt, you know, like. But yeah,
like me, you know, I've gotten, because my biggest video by far is the one I did, Franchise Kicks, you know, trashes that Spider-Man booth.
Oh yeah.
And I've gotten, you know, I'm up to, I don't know, almost 3,000 views on that one. It's by far my biggest one. And that's the one, you know, that you're spreading out there because you know, you're not, because most of the people who comment are people that we know, that we've become friends with in the community, that are watching your channel on the regular, and they dig what you're doing. You know, when you've spread out, when you start, because I had one today said, you guys are clowns. Looks like to me you're jealous. And I just responded and said, the clown part could be true. The rest of what you're saying is just funny. So I'm not even respond. But thanks for watching my video, because they watched it, right? They watched it anyway. I don't care if they hated it or not. They still watched it. So
I still got that's kind of how, right.
Yeah, so that's kind of how I felt about it. I was like, okay, whatever. And like Jim cracked me up when he said that at first he was like, yo mama to every comment. It was like, yo mama. And then he figured out he was giving them what they wanted. And so he just stopped doing that. You know, he was like, just, hey, thanks for watching, you know, and going about your day. So no, I think it's true though. You know that you're doing something right if you're getting some of the hate too, you know, because you're spreading out enough to where you're going to get some of that.
Yeah, and I think that video, that's a great watch, right? Because like when I originally watched that video when he posted it, like I didn't see it as, if we backlog earlier in this conversation, we talked about knowledge, right? And being knowledgeable, and again, and that's somebody else's opinion that was about that Spider-Man booth. He's entitled to that opinion, you know, like, but it's just a recap. And I think that's a really good watch. I don't think it deserves hate comments. I think if anything, it just would back up how people feel about it. Right. But I mean, that's all it is, you know, but yeah, the clown. Yeah.
I thought it was funny. I was like, oh, I made it. I'm a clown. You know, I was so excited. I got, because it's funny on that particular video, you know, you either get one or two comments, like as it has gotten and spread out, you get one or two comments. They either hate Jim Mint or not Jim Mint, Franchise Kicks. They either hate Franchise Kicks or they hate you because they love Franchise Kicks.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So
100%. And I mean, I was actually really surprised. And my older brother and I don't talk about him a lot because we talk about this stuff a lot. I'm surprised how many people dislike Comic Tom. I was really shocked by. I mean, I know he's a little animated. You know, he can get a little crazy sometimes on his channel. I think we all can. You know, I think that's part of the hyping of the channel. But yeah, the dislike that guy gets, I was kind of shocked by it. Again, it's just, I mean, I guess thanks for the watch, but if you don't like it, then why are you watching it?
Why are you watching, right?
Yeah. So I don't know. It comes with the territory, I guess.
Absolutely. All right, Chris. So question number 8. Now you do a lot of mystery boxes on your channel, right? So is there a couple that you have found that you just really like that might be a fan favorite for Chris?
So eye candy. I mean, dude. I mean, if you guys aren't following eye candy and you're not getting those boxes, really missing out. And you know,
man, I mean, I've opened them all. I've bought every box except for the $800 box, and I had every intention of buying that $800 box.
I was wondering what happened. Why you didn't get one?
Work took over. I mean, it was one of those things where I had set the alarm, But then we're just really busy right now at work, and I just got pulled away from my desk and my phone. And I guess my alarm had probably been going off for 45 minutes, and I came back, and so I went and checked it, already sold out. But yeah, no,
Yeah.
eye candy, man, is kind of changing the game really as far as what
Yeah.
to expect from a mystery box.
Yeah. So eye candy's legit. That Spider-Man booth, it's still a good box if you're in with the variant game. I think,
Right.
the reason why they get a lot of hate is because they put a lot of their own variants and they put a lot of their own books in there. Which again, it kind of goes back to people hating on it because it's like, oh, it only costs them $1 to make that comic and they're charging this much for the box. It's just like, well, as a business owner, I kind of I understand that. You know what I mean? Like that's it. And some people really enjoy it. So I think that Spider-Man booth is a really good entry into mystery boxes, especially the $30 boxes are really good boxes. And they're fun to open, right? Like that's part of it too, is it may not be about hitting the grand prizes. It may not getting solid books. I mean, it's a fun box. The other box, I will say, and a lot of people may say that it's a conflict of interest, is Black Flag Comics. Because I know right now I'm running that promo code through Black Flag, get 15% off if you use Wild Comics 15. I'm not trying to use your channel to promote them. Just
it's all good. Right? Promote away, baby. Promote away.
yeah. I mean, I'll tell you a funny story about that in a minute. But they do mystery boxes, but it's very rare. And when they do, I have one on my channel. I can't remember. It was a while ago, but I mean, it's ridiculous. And they have Clayton Crane as one of their main artists, and it's his Infinity signature, his artwork. His books are like ridiculous. And it's funny because so when Clayton Crane, when everything got shut down, Clayton Crane did that road tour, and one of my LCSs, my local comic shop, was able to get on to the roster like last minute, and they stopped in the town. And I was at the first one there. I thought it was gonna be crazy busy. And I think he had like a 200-person turnout, which is pretty nuts. And I went in there, I paid cash. And I ended up giving him a bunch of pins. So I went to Hobby Lobby the night before, which is like an arts and crafts store. I don't know if you guys okay. So it's like a huge arts and crafts stores. And so I figured, it's all about the big give back. He's taking time. So I got him a bunch of the artist pins. If you watch some of his YouTube channels, how he does it. So I got him a bunch of pins. Like, here you go, man. Here's some pins. And he was like, man, I really appreciate that. I'm not going to charge you for the signature cost. So we'll just charge you for the book cost and the CGC cost. And I was like, oh, man. That's not why I did it, but that's really cool. And Clayton Crane was like, dude, totally cool, man. Like, don't even charge him for the signatures. Well, somehow that that little bit of information got lost, and it never got back to the heads of Black Flag Comics. So when they got the books back and before they sent them out to me, she was like, hey, we have a problem. So she called me. And I tell everybody this: anytime you have to write down your information and they just require your first and last name, always include your email, always include your phone number, because you never know where it may lead. Okay, because it can lead to some astronomical places in your life that you never know that they could go, which I'm going to get to, is because she ended up calling me and she was like, hey, this, and I told her the story. So it's really cool, blah, 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 blah. Have an awesome day. I said, oh, you have an awesome day too. Well, 4 months goes by, and I'm like, you know what? I still have her phone number. I saved her contact. Again, being a business owner, you keep everyone's contacts, and I just called her up and I was like, hey, Wild Comics, I have this channel. I'd love to give back. I do a Thursday giveaway. Would you be interested in giving away a book or doing a promo code? And lo and behold, I end up, getting that 15% promo code off, and that applies to anyone, right? So like, if you just follow the instincts and just do all that, like that's, I forgot what the question was that you just asked, but I know we're kind of veering off topic, but
no, it's cool, man. No, I was just talking about the mystery boxes. Saying you answered. I mean, eye candy, Black Flag.
Yeah.
And are there any others that you found that you dig, outside of those three, the Spider-Man booth, and then any others, any Instagrammers that you really like?
So, I mean, I'm trying to think if I buy any mystery boxes off of no, I mean, not, I'll be honest. I know Torpedo has a really bad rap, and they do, in my opinion, unfortunately.
I've seen you open some pretty good boxes from them, though.
But that's just it. Like they're very, very spotty. They did a really cool mystery box, and I never showed it because I bought for some reason they're on this mystery box kick, and I think a lot of people are. You know what I mean? Slotted Up, I think, just did one, and I missed out on it. So I was hoping to get one of his mystery boxes.
Yeah, I actually bought one today.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that, man. I think it was like what, $200 or something,
Two
some
hundred bucks,
crazy.
man. He's put all kinds of crazy books in there. Some of them have
Yeah,
2 slabs, some have three. I mean, and one's got $100
yeah.
bill. I love it.
So I was like, dang, I missed out on that because I was on a plane. You know what I mean? I was flying back. So I missed it. But that's a really cool way of doing it, is adding $100 bill into it, because that's a really cool concept to say, hey, like, I'm pretty much giving someone a box half off with stuff in it. Like, that's killer. And Torpedo Comics did a really cool mystery box, and I didn't share it. They were doing a $10 mystery box, and it included one comic, and that's all it was. And you had a chance, and they had like, it was 100 boxes, and you had a chance of hitting one of the grand prizes of 20 boxes. I thought that's incredible odds. For $30, I'll buy 3 boxes. And I remember I opened up the boxes and I was like, yo, what is this? You know what I mean? Like, I mean, I was like, no, I can't, it was just I remember opening it, and I remember watching the video, like, during the editing process, like you probably know. And I was just like, the reaction, the response, it just screamed negativity, and I didn't share it. But the idea, the concept was really, really cool. You know what I mean? A $10 mystery box, one comic, like, that's a really cool concept. And that's what really been onto it. And some of these other Instagrammers have that. And I think a lot of it is you got to have that reputation. You got to have that reputation of having a legitimate box with legitimate prizes. And the hard part too is having the value, because a lot of people criticize because, oh man, you spent $100 and you only got a $75 slab, and you're like, well, it's not the purpose. That's not, it's not the purpose of the box.
Right.
So that's hard, but yeah, I mean, I would say that Spider-Man booth, eye candy, if you can get an eye candy, and then just follow any locals on IG and see what they have.
So question 9 is, and it kind of goes along with this, is like, what makes a good mystery box to you, as far as the type of books that are in it? Like the variety? Do you like the older books, newer books that are hot? Like, what makes a good mystery box to you?
I think a really good mystery box that can, because I did a line of mystery boxes. I'm about to do another one here, probably in a little bit. I mean, I did really, really good. I'm really fortunate. But what makes a really good mystery box is, I mean, I'm not trying to promote myself, but I'm going to tell you my next line of mystery boxes. I'm thinking about doing 10 boxes. They're either going to be $30 or $40 each, shipped, and it contains one slab. And what it is it's a spec book, right? So I think a lot of people can get into an early spec to where they can land something later on down the road that could potentially turn out to be really, really hot, like Something's Killing the Children. Who would have thought that book would have blown up that fast?
Right.
You know what I mean? Like if I would have a 9.8 $40 mystery box, so I have like Undiscovered Country, which has been obtained. I have a 9.8 that would be going in there. Philadelphia #1 is getting a lot of heat right now. 9.8 would be going in there. I have, God, what else was I going to put in there? One of the grand prizes, I think, was like a Beta Ray bill. What was going to be one of the GPs for that mystery box. God, I'm trying to think of another one. I can't remember the other ones I was going to put in there. But something along the lines of like a spec, to where it's affordable to people can get in, because I think that's part of it too. There's a huge FOMO that exists inside this community, to where gimme, I gotta get it. You know what I mean? There's this huge, like, I gotta have it to be part of that pivotal moment to where it peaks, And I think what makes a really good mystery box is something to where it's affordable. It has spec, so there's room for it to grow. And you're being able to give somebody something that maybe they weren't expecting. I know it's a mystery box and it's kind of a weird response, but like, I think every box should contain a slab, in my opinion. I think every box, whether it be 6.5, 9.8, whatever you want. I think people just like filling that hard case, knowing, hey man, I got something that says CGC on it,
Right.
and it has a grade on it. I think that's huge. I think people like to have that, and I think that for me to send a book into CGC, I have a medium tier. It costs me about $25 after shipping, plus the cost of the book. Right, so right there alone, you're already in it. Anywhere between $30 to $50. And so I think when people grab that slab and they feel that hard case while reaching into the box, that's almost that, like, I got my value, right? And I think that fulfills. I think that's what people want. People want that security, that it makes that fulfillment. So I think that's what make a killer mystery box.
Cool. All right, man. So our last question, question
Yeah.
10. What does Chris watch on YouTube? Like, what's a channel that maybe my viewers or I'm not watching that maybe I should be, and maybe somebody I should reach out to interview?
Oh, that's a good question. There's a lot of great channels, and there's a lot of people coming up. And it's weird. I know you did DJ Link. That was a killer watch. And we've had some minor social interaction as far as on Instagram and everything. And he's growing pretty big too. But there's still a lot of people. I know you and Slotted Up and Gary B. You guys do all that. Who's another good? Gosh, I'm trying to think who would be a really good Symbiote Comics. He would be the thing about Symbiote Comics is he is 12. He's around that teenage age, right? So unfortunately, the legality and everything can kind of be a little tricky behind that. But I think that would be a really cool interview to kind of get a younger perspective.
Sure.
Yeah, like having, and there's another one, Kid Collect Comics. He would be another really good one. Again, around that same age, just because like it's different. It's like, what are these kids nowadays looking for? Because what they're looking for in 10 years from now could totally change the game, right? But the crazy part too is eye candy. If you can get a hold of eye candy, that would be a killer interview. See what he's doing. People, the question. So the main thing is people is what he. Is it legal what he's doing? Like, what is
right? No, that's what I ask him.
Yeah, like that's what everyone's wondering.
And it's funny that you said that because I actually messaged him last night.
Oh, nice. There you go.
And said, "Look, dude, you need to come on my channel." After watching those $800 mystery boxes, I was like, "You've got to come on my channel. I need to interview you." And he hasn't told me yet for sure whether or not he's going to do it, but I'm trying to get him on here. And I'm like you, brother, like. That dude just completely flipped the script. Every box that I've gotten from him has been $100+ over what I paid for it, and a couple
ridiculous.
Double. It's just insane. I mean, I feel like I work for the dude. I feel like I should be promoting for him.
So here's the thing. If you watch my unboxing, I pulled the Outlawed one, the Ghost variant, right? He had a $1,250 price tag on it. One just ended yesterday. Now, granted, yesterday was Super Bowl, and it ended like at halftime on Super Bowl, which I thought, okay, whoever posted this obviously isn't a football player or a football fan because they would never have posted this during this time. And but even then, it sold for $1,025. It sold for over $1,000.
Wow.
And we're not even talking about the 12 books, the Torment line, which are in all those books. And those books, I mean, you don't have to press or clean those, and you're getting 9/8, man. Like those books are stupid minty, And I'd be 100% honest with you. When you started doing this, like I was like, dang you, man. Like that should have been my idea. Like this is such a really cool thing. I was just like, dang it, like this is so awesome. Like I would honestly, man, I would go for like, I know you did Gem Mint, you did Very Gary, you did that Spider-Man booth. Those killer watches, and not discrediting them, like Comic Tom, Golden Age Guru would be another really cool one. I would go bigger, man. I would do Shoot the Moon. You know what I mean? Like I would try to get some serious. If you get A-list stars, would be really cool. So, I would even try to get onto like some sort of. It'd be really cool if you could interview someone like in the music industry. That may not know much about comics or is unknowledgeable. But I'll be honest with you too, man. Like I have had, maybe you know him. God, what's his name is Brandon Ben. He's a tight end for Kentucky right now for football, and he follows me on Instagram. And I have a lot of D1 college football players that follow my Instagram channel.
Really?
And I think, I'm like, this is really cool. So like. It's really curious to see. So, and then my LCS happens to be A1 Comics. The owner of A1 Comics is Brian Peets. And Brian Peets was a tight end for the San Francisco 49ers and the Seattle Seahawks back in the day. So I get to see Brian Peets every day. Like that'd be a killer interview, And I can, if you wanted to, I can try to put you in contact.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. Yeah, I would love to talk to Brian Peets, man. That would be so cool. Yeah. No, man, that's interesting because as far as like the 10 questions, like that's what I want to be the flagship of the channel. And, as I move forward and try different things, and I like to try new stuff. Like I don't want to say I get bored easily, but
Sure.
I like to try new things and, do something different, but I dig this. Like I love, like just sitting down talking to you tonight, man.
Yeah, it's
You're in
fun.
California. I'm in friggin' Eastern Kentucky,
Right.
and we're sitting here having a conversation about comics. Two guys who started YouTube channels, see each other's videos, and there you go. Now, now we're hanging out here. So that's absolutely, man. Yeah, man, that's great. I really enjoyed this interview, Chris. I
Yeah, me
really
too. Thank
appreciate
you.
you coming on, man. I wish you nothing but success. Everybody, if you're not following Wild Comics, go over to obviously YouTube, subscribe up, and turn on the notification bell so that you can see all Chris's crazy content and all the crazy stuff he gives away.
Yeah.
Follow him on Instagram. A lot of times with his giveaways, you'll have to slide over to Instagram and be there when he does that. That's the ones I would always miss because I could never catch up with the time.
Yeah.
But Chris is a lot of fun to watch. And like I said at the beginning of this, when I was doing the intro, if I had to describe his channel in one word, it would just be fun.
Right on.
It's a lot of fun to watch. Of course, guys, remember, I've got the code right now with Street Level Hero LA. It's the STC10, where you can get 10% off your purchase. But most importantly, you can get 25% of your total order will be donated to the American Cancer Society in the SmallTown Collectibles name for cancer research. So go over, make a purchase,
Yeah.
buy some cool comic book, buy some cool gear. They got all kinds of cool stuff over there at Street Level Hero LA. And thanks to JPG for making that happen for us. Guys,
That's awesome.
yeah,
That's awesome.
thank you, man. I appreciate that. That was something that I reached out to him on, and he was so generous about it. And I was like, here, because I do a lot of work with that, and you'll see in the intro of some of my videos, little
Absolutely.
commercial I did. And, but yeah, it's real important to me. But man, Chris, again, man, thanks so much. Guys, go sub us both up. Go sub us up.
Yeah.
Comment, like, do all that good stuff, share, do all those things that we ask you to do. And as I always end these things, until next time.